Hey, welcome back, everybody. We got another episode of Strange Happenings. This is a special UAPs getting shot down all over the place. Canada, tons of sightings.
Yeah,
we've
can't
got
swing a dead cat
Alaska.
without hitting a
You've got
UAP.
Octagon shapes being shot down over Lake Huron, Upper Peninsula area of Michigan.
It's hot.
We thought, this has been unfolding for a few days. I'm your host, Mikey, as always. We got the bro host, Bub.
What's up?
And today we have, of course, Stoner, our director, wizard extraordinaire, and Disbro.
The bro.
Matt, the bro, Disbro, is here with us.
The bro.
Making everything sounding great, so we appreciate those guys.
Hell yeah.
And what's up, all you guys in the chat?
Chat's on fire right now.
Yep, we got Justin, Necro, Flutz, Born Not to Run. What do we got? Some comments?
Necro said, can't hear anything. Oh, my volume was way
Yeah. Oh, God, here we go again. Bro, I'll tell you what, guys.
Oh, yeah. Last podcast with AI.
Sir Bro of Diz and Stoner have been working on this audio really yesterday and all of today. They were here.
It's like 9 a.m.
All those gremlins or whatever was going on, a lot of rerouting. The drivers may, kind of resetting, uninstalling.
Beyond my scope.
USB interface drivers and things like that to try to
agree.
narrow down all the stuff that's going on back there. And, so I think those guys did a heck of a job, and so far so good. I don't hear any weirdness, but that made me a little concerned when I saw that comment. So I appreciate it. That was on your end and not ours.
Hey, we got Stoner's dad.
Stoner's dad, welcome.
What do you want to tell Stoner's dad, Mike?
Oh, Stoner's dad, Neil, we're drinking a little hams today in your honor.
Little hams. We don't have any beans, but
no beans.
We got the hams.
We're waiting on the beans. The beans are coming. Disbro unfortunately did not bring the beans.
He brought salmon and ham.
Salmon and ham. And hams. Well, we do have the salmon. So a lot of weird stuff happening, unfolding. Just so happens over Super Bowl Sunday is when a lot of this is kind of like culminating, and everybody's kind of focused on the halftime show, while all this other stuff that just is coming to a head, starting really in the afternoon on Super Bowl Sunday is when it started getting kind of fever pitch online, and the opinions and articles started really kind of flying out. But we've got a few things to hop into.
We got some new subscribers we should shout out real quick.
Yes, absolutely.
We don't have them up on the board. We don't have them on the board, but yeah, I know. I just thought about it.
You got it pulled up?
I got it pulled up here. So we got Andy Morellis. Thanks, Andy, for subscribing. Troy Birch. John Thorne. Thanks, John Thorne. It's K-Mac. Thanks, K-Mac. Anthony Thompson. JR999. MW. And Inevitable Miasma. I need to look up what that word means, but it sounds interesting. Miasma. So that's our most recent subscribers, and we are, cruising along. We keep talking about how we feel like we've kind of plateaued or peaked a little bit here, and we're maybe not gaining as much traction, and maybe we look at numbers a little too deeply and too tightly sometimes. But again, it still feels like we were just looking at trying to get 700 subscribers for our YouTube channel, and we're, well past that. We're almost getting closer to 800 now again. So it's something that we're not seeing it jump, but that's fine. We're happy to see that it's still growing, and we're happy to still have an audience to, still talk to. And
still growing. Everything's awesome right now.
Discuss all this weird conspiratorial UFO,
what
UAP,
better?
Dogman, Mothman.
We would literally be sitting around talking about this stuff anyway, so we might as well have mics and cameras pointing at us, talking about it.
Why? Yeah, why not?
It's
that's kind of what
light's still on.
Yeah, that's kind of what AI said though the other night in their podcast, right? They're like, we were always talking about this at work anyways. Yeah. So why not just turn it into a show and
Absolutely.
Did you hear that? Is there somebody banging with
there?
Loud
100%. All of a sudden is like some kind of construction happening in the building. That's okay. You guys might not be able to hear that. You might. We're gonna move on.
We're going to head right into it head
first. And that happens. So really all of this started, if you want to say, really late January is when they started tracking, if you want to say the Chinese spy balloon incident.
Right.
That all of this kind of really started then in January 28th. And right around that time.
But I don't think we really heard about where that balloon was until it was, middle America or somewhere like that. It it wasn't just approaching; it was already kind of cruising overhead.
Yep.
And that's when everybody turned their attention to the skies.
Yep.
And it seems like we went from a balloon to another balloon to an unknown to an octagonal to how are they being propelled. And, the craziest part, I think, is most people would just shoot it down. It's like, well, it's kind of difficult. It's really high. We don't fly fighter jets up at those altitudes generally. So how do you even attack it? So it's a weird thing, and it made me think of that whole I don't know if it's War of the Worlds or The Day the Earth Stood Still or whichever movie, but like the aliens get defeated because of like a simple bacterial organism that destroys them.
Yeah.
And this is like we're talking about balloons, and we're like, how the hell do we stop a balloon? That seemed kind of strange.
Yeah.
We don't have lasers or something that just.
And they tracked it for a while to probably
railgun.
get data, on January 28th, really through January 28th through February 3rd. This whole balloon situation unfolds, and and they realize that this thing's carrying sensors, surveillance equipment, and a diameter of 200 feet, and that entered really the Alaskan airspace near the Aleutian Islands, and then it's spotted by civilians on a commercial airline flight in Billings, Montana. They send photos on February 1st to the Federal Aviation the FAA, and then the Montana Governor's Office, followed by NORAD, lets them know about it. And then the next day, the DoD announces, hey, NORAD's tracking this thing. We're on it, okay? So it becomes public, and then they let everybody know that it's a Chinese balloon at this point. And it's detected back and forth, and then U.S. and China at this point kind of start going back and forth. The political volleyball kind of starts. China goes on to say that they admit it's a balloon from China, but claims that it's a civilian research operation. Okay, that's gone adrift. Yeah,
civilian.
And so U.S. senior military and national security officials confirmed the balloon is tied to a major surveillance program, and that has been largely run out of China's Heian Island province off its southeast coast in the South China Sea. So then, February 4th, an F-22 shoots the balloon down. So then more political banter goes back and forth for the next week about this balloon.
Yeah,
the internet goes nuts over it.
Coast of Carolina, right? South Carolina?
Yes. So the coast of Surfside Beach, South Carolina, and it's, 6 miles off the coast. So it eventually lands in the water after it's shot down.
Right.
And then after that, Biden basically follows the advice of the Pentagon. Eventually, first they said, don't shoot the balloon down. So maybe that's, again, they're tracking this thing and getting data from it as it's, hey, let's keep this thing up here for a while and see what it's trying to do.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then eventually they shoot it down. So it was originally about the size of a bus, the payload, and it's located in the Atlantic Ocean. But, a very large balloon. And, it basically comes out that this thing is rigged out with tons of spy equipment.
Well, sure.
And, of course, China's going in full, hey, wasn't us kind of mode.
I think we would do the same thing if we got caught.
Yep, absolutely.
Right?
So
seems like
all this kind of, settles down before the weekend of last weekend, before Super Bowl Sunday weekend.
All right.
And then February 10th, the U.S. military announces another unidentified airborne object over northeastern Alaska.
Alert.
And then U.S. officials believe the object to first be a balloon, but couldn't confirm it. It broke into pieces after hitting the ocean, the New York Times reports. So this is the one that lands in the water, and we still don't know what they've recovered, if they were able to recover anything. I mean, they're not going to tell us all three of these.
Can I give you a little anecdote on the level of recovery I know they can do? And this comes from a direct source. I had a patient once who was a former aerospace engineer at Wright-Patterson for 30 years. And she came in for like a really quick, outpatient procedure. And I just started talking to her, and she turns out to be this aerospace engineer. And somehow we got in that conversation because I had mentioned to her that I had read an article about some satellites that we have that can like read a stick of butter from like 4 miles up in space. Like it can zoom in into your apartment in if it's overhead and read the label of that. It can pick up a
Right.
dime on the sidewalk.
Right.
So I was like, what are these satellites, et cetera? And she was like, well, how do you think we found that space shuttle that blew up a couple years ago in Texas? I guess I don't remember this very well, but we had a shuttle that was either landing or taking off, and it blew apart. And they found all of the wreckage and debris by using technology like that to
Right.
zero in on it. I mean, like
Scanning it.
quarter-size, dime-size pieces,
That's wild.
because she was like, no, we don't want anyone to know what our technology is and what it's made of and how to duplicate that.
Yeah.
So then it would lead down an entire rabbit hole, but that's why we don't know what it is yet. We haven't found anything.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. Come on. Come on.
Right.
Come on, Eileen.
I mean, what they're admitting to me right now, this is so bizarre. Like, we haven't even got to...
We're not even
We're
to the
getting
meat
to-
and potatoes yet.
Right. But
We're at the bread and butter.
let's just continue on, because this is really unprecedented, because
Season
New
that
York
steak.
Times, we're talking CNN, all the mainstream news, the
Normies.
official White House,
Right.
official Canadian government. We're talking the top offices that never said a damn word. And we've
For
been
years,
covering
for decades.
this new Pentagon. We've kind of been leading up to this on Strange Happenings, have been kind of
We've had a lot of the
following
Russia
some of this
incidences with shooting down, with UFOs around nuclear talks. With
the reports, Pentagon reports, all the new sightings.
But it stems back to, and I'm not saying it's World
it's a
War III yet.
slow disclosure.
I'm not saying it's World War III, but around World War II, after we dropped that bomb again, we made mention of like UFOs, and there being a lot of reports around nuclear silos and missiles and
Yep.
and all kinds. So maybe since then there's kind of
They're
been
here.
an awareness level that they're watching us, going, we got to keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
They might they might do the same thing.
These chimpanzees running around with nukes,
right.
pointing them at each
Right.
other.
Right. Like it's just
Like
craziness.
some super advanced being. If you're that advanced and you can figure out that type of technology, I mean, you don't get there if you're some.
You don't accidentally get there.
Yeah, you have to have a certain level of consciousness evolution, is what a lot of people talk about. So it's like, we'll get there. Some of the rhetoric that's coming out about this is,
Pretty wild.
we don't know if it's, it's a threat. You're hearing these kind of terms, which is laying the foundation for, oh boy, here we go. Is this the next big fear event
Yeah,
that
we'll go
they
down
can use to?
Project Blue Beam Alley.
Yeah,
We'll go
we're
down
not
that.
quite there.
We'll
yet.
talk about
We're getting
it.
way ahead of it.
We'll discuss it.
So
Promise.
another object identified over northeastern Alaska. Hey, what's up, Burton? Burton just got in.
What up,
it looks
Burton?
like. What's happening?
Burton Moran. It's just a good name. It just goes together well.
And so they're showing basically, how immature and irresponsible, this rhetoric that's kind of going back and forth with the
Right.
Chinese government. And then with Canada's permission, on February 11th, another unidentified craft is shot down by an F-22 Raptor in Canada. So this is where Trudeau and Biden are publicly like on Twitter, and we have some of these articles. I'm just running through the timeline real quick,
Right.
but where it shows the communication from the White House and Canadian government going,
Right.
yeah, take it down. Let's go.
Right.
Green light it. Never before. Like, this is just really, really wild how public all of this was. It all unfolding on social media and through news, mainstream news.
I haven't looked at it like
platforms.
this. And the more I look at it with the frequency and how quick the turnaround is, and
was
like you're
quick.
saying, yeah, let's shoot it down. Like, wait, it's
They were
Project
tracking
Blue,
it for a little bit.
but it does seem like Project Bluebeam. Mm-hmm. Never before have we had this many UAPs or shot one down that we
that admitted
right.
3. Yeah, they admitted Roswell at first, but then they learned their lesson and never
Right.
admitted another one because they're like, oopsie,
Right.
never mind. It was a swamp gas and a freaking weather balloon. Come on.
There's just too many bingos being yelled all at once,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
There's only one.
There's
bingo
only one
card.
bingo.
Right.
Right. And my grandma won a lot of bingo. She was a very lucky lady. She would always get that bingo money. I mean, that's what keeps them coming back. You gotta hit that bingo once. There's no chance.
Just the thrill of shouting bingo.
Yeah, it's the best. I used to go all the time. And then we got February 12th, U.S. F-16 shoots down unidentified flying object over Lake Huron.
The very next day.
Right before, Super Bowl Sunday, you have the Kitten Bowl that's got all the UFOs landing and the aliens.
Which I didn't see that, but you told me about it.
Yeah.
And you said the interesting part is most people won't think about it, but like that Kitten Super Bowl didn't happen in real time.
Right.
That was done and filmed
Right.
prior to.
Yep.
And probably before.
That was
all
Kill
of
the Mockingbirds post that
right.
I saw.
Before all of this UAP business was going off. So either somebody is a Nostradamus of, the Cat Network, or, it's just a coincidence, or, it's that whole kind of weird soft disclosure in your face.
Right.
Geez, there's so much to talk about. Even with UAPs, there's still more outside of that. The Super Bowl alone was a treasure trove.
Right, exactly.
There's a lot going on.
So we can look into this. So that's, and then you have China spotting, like on Sunday as well. China shot down supposedly a UAP.
Right.
Also.
Right.
And then we'll get into some of these articles.
You know what? It's almost like peeing your pants became cool, and then everybody's like, I peed my pants too.
Hey.
I peed my pants. We had a UAP too.
Hey, calling you Miles Davis, making it cool. Chinese spy balloon, part of a larger surveillance program. So this is just talking about, once they found, they confirmed. This is like the first article where they confirm that this is a Chinese spy balloon, essentially.
Right.
So they're not going to play around with something like this. Along with the balloon that traversed U.S. airspace last week, the Defense Department is aware of at least 4 previous balloons that have flown over U.S. territory. Brigadier General Pat Ryder told reporters, this is what we assess as part of a larger Chinese surveillance balloon program. This is a program that's been operated for several years. So they've been doing this. They deny it. That's, to be known, to be expected. And then... So our second article here, and this is really just kind of a video that breaks down a little bit. And this is CNBC News. And this video here just kind of breaks down a little bit of the, I think there's a little clip in here from one of the...
Biden's order,
Biden's
a
guys
U.S. fighter
here.
pilot shot down an unidentified unmanned object the size of a small car.
We're calling this an object because that's the best description we have right now.
This time above the Arctic waters off Alaska, near the Canadian border. At this point, U.S. officials are not saying this is another Chinese spy balloon. In fact, they say they don't know what it was or what it could do.
We do not know who owns it. Whether it's state-owned or corporate-owned or
early on,
privately
too.
owned. We just don't know.
Spotted and tracked for
This is
about
on
24
Friday
hours, moving northeasterly at 40,000
Like
feet. At that
privately owned by
altitude, officials say they
extraterrestrials?
did
Privately
fear
owned?
this unknown
Like some-
object
like that
posed a
kind?
risk
Well,
to
if you hit
civilian
pause on
flights.
that, we can
You
talk
got to
about
read
that.
between the lines in the
Typically
double speak.
fly
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's pretty much it on that. But that quote from John Kirby just saying, this is early on. There's a lot of things that have come out since.
Right.
They're not admitting a whole lot on Friday.
But we're
at this
still
point.
early in the timeline here.
Yes,
Right.
this is early in the timeline.
Right. We should keep that in check
Right.
because we're kind of going back through it as it's happening.
This
We've
is how
already
it
kind of laid out the
unfolded.
timeline, and now we're going through them
Yeah.
case by case.
This is how it unfolded. So that video is from Friday's news report.
Jay Lamb knows it.
Yep. It's pure talent, no luck involved. Project Bluebeam.
Yep.
Exactly.
Wah, wah,
and I will
wah,
say-
wah, wah, wah.
We'll get into it.
Yeah.
This is one of those things that's hard to find information on. And then our next part in the timeline is U.S. shoots down unidentified cylindrical object over Canada.
This is wild.
This is wild. The fighter jet, F-22 fighter jet, shot down an unidentified cylindrical object over Canada on Saturday. This second such instance in as many days as North America appeared on edge following a week-long Chinese spying balloon saga that drew the global spotlight. It's Those aircraft did not identify any object to correlate the radar hits, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, said in a statement. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau first announced Saturday's shootdown over northern Yukon Territory, saying Canadian forces would recover and analyze the wreckage. Canadian Defense Minister Anita Anand declined to speculate about the origin of the object and said it was cylindrical in shape. So we've seen a lot. I mean, the Tic Tac, the cylindrical shape.
This sounds like the Tic Tac.
A bit, right?
Just not behaving in the same way as. That's why it sounds a little blue beamy-ish.
Well, here's the thing. If these are like really advanced craft, how is an F-22 going to shoot it down? Someone had a good point about that. I don't know who we were talking to.
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe this is all part to either A, roll out blue beam, or roll back the Tic Tac reports. Like, oh, remember those Tic Tacs from a couple years ago? Well, yeah, this is it. We shot one down.
Yeah.
But
now
really
they're
we
gonna
didn't.
verify.
But really we didn't. So then they can keep kind of kicking the can of.
Well, there's a narrative being built, a long game, right? You have the
always a long
releases
game.
of the slow release of Captain Fravor, and we're going to talk about this and let them go on Joe Rogan podcast and actually tell people about this. Back in 2018 and 19 when all that stuff was breaking, it was kind of shocking. This is a whole different level of the face-to-face government. John Kirby, Biden, Trudeau, tweeting about it, giving interviews about it. It's just a different level.
I think that's why it's catching people off
Why
guard.
all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom?
Right, it doesn't make sense.
Because the Chinese balloon set the precedent for shooting down UAP, which is just unidentified aerial phenomenon,
Right.
in our airspace. So we're going to take that down. Sets the precedent for all these other weird things flying around up in the sky.
So do you think before that there were already weird things in the sky?
Yes.
So the Chinese government was like, oh hell, let's just try to slip ours
It was
in there
their
with it.
excuse somehow.
There's already traffic up there. Let's just what's another balloon
It's
if there's
the Trojan
already
horse. The
UAPs?
balloon is the Trojan horse to give this window where now they can talk about it, do these things, publicly shoot.
So we should thank China.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It's kind of like maybe they were like, you know what? Everybody's been screwing around with releasing this
Now,
information.
if you look at Alex Jones will tell you, the globalists are behind the scenes puppeteering.
That's what it seems
the
like.
banking.
That's what it seems like.
Elite.
All that we've
Davos
seen.
and all those guys are the ones. Hey, China, you go do this. America, you're going to shoot down the balloon, and we're going to start priming this thing. Get some fear going about UAPs, UFOs, aliens. We'll start kind of pumping this up as the next big scary event where we need more government. We need
What if
them
that
to
really
protect
does
us.
become our headline cycle currently coming?
Let's
is
band
lit-
together to fight the
literally-
aliens.
Right, but it's literally like they're starting to report on aliens and there's alien ships encircling that. Like, what if that starts? I mean,
This is
close.
the beginning of something.
Right.
I can tell you that right now.
Right. Like, I don't know. It's too wild.
So they shot this thing down 40,000 feet up in the air, and
Shoot it
it
down.
did pose a risk. I mean, that's
Same as
flights,
aircraft for civilians, yeah.
Exactly. So that's kind of the green light. Hey,
Yeah.
we had to shoot this thing down. 3:41 Eastern Standard Time is when they did that. That was on Saturday. Okay.
All right.
Now we've got. This is just a video of these reporters, just going nuts, asking Biden about this report, and this is on Saturday as well, Saturday, February 11th. And this is like just in the evening on a Saturday night, like not many people are paying attention at this point.
Right.
Really, everyone got aware.
Right.
I kind of had heard rumblings. I was busy this weekend, my wife's mom's birthday party. Yeah, here you go.
Were you able to recover it yet? Was it a balloon, Mr. President?
I don't hear anything, but
Let's go, guys. Let's go. Do it.
So that happened Saturday.
yeah, I don't know if anybody could hear.
So in the next one, it takes off on Sunday again.
Yep.
That U.S. officials restrict the airspace over Lake Michigan
Yep.
because they cite a potential new threat to national security as the United States and Canada responded to a series of recent air intrusions. So the FAA announced temporary flight restrictions. over one of the Great Lakes along the U.S. Canadian border, designating it as a national defense airspace. Mm-hmm. That's pretty again, like they're really like, it's not even like just, hey, we got it under control.
No.
Let's try to be cool about this. They're like, yep, everybody kind of freak out. It's weird, kind of like they're wanting to get some attention to it, but
Right.
we'll discuss. One day after a similar closure over Montana led to the scrambling of U.S. fighter jets, right? So the Montana closure was ordered over a radar anomaly, but no object was discovered. That's kind of interesting. So that's kind of leading to the whole, it's the weird UFO technology, but we can shoot it down. That's where it doesn't align fully with traditional. So Prime Minister Trudeau on Saturday said that on his orders, U.S. fighter jet had shot down an unidentified object that was flying over the Yukon. Claim came after U.S. government said they had shot down a Chinese spy balloon. Now, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, the combined U.S.-Canada organization that provides shared defense of airspace over the two nations, detected the object flying at a high altitude Friday evening over Alaska. U.S. officials said that.
They're just kind of recapping what happened.
Yeah.
So
Where's the new one?
This next one is physics. I had to just get a couple different takes on, you got your mainstream. This is physicsastronomy.com. And this is about the Lake Huron. Breaking news, just shot down another unidentified flying object and won't rule out aliens. In barely 2 weeks, U.S. military shot down a fourth flying object of the North American airspace. It's unclear what the most recent item to come down was, but according to officials, nothing is presently being ruled out, not even extraterrestrials. The flying object was detected by radar on February 11th over Montana before being brought down by an air-to-air missile on Friday, February 12th over Lake Huron. It was determined to be a threat to civilian aviation. Again, 220,000 feet. But here it goes on to talk about the shape of it and it being a pentagon, or I'm sorry, an octagon. And so it's just very specific shape that they talk about. And, there's another Newsweek article. The scientists on NASA's UAP panel shares thoughts on the Lake Huron. This is a big one, is the Lake Huron. That's the one that a lot of people are kind of really losing their shit over. And you're kind of hearing the most about in the wake of 4 mysterious objects being shot down in North America. This NASA's UAP panel, and they're set up to study unexplained sightings in the sky. And they weighed in on this. The last object, said to be octagonal in shape, was shot down over Lake Huron. The first of 4 objects identified as a Chinese surveillance balloon. So here you go. You have NASA weighing in. And
right.
These are just, this is kind of what's unfolded now that after Super Bowl Sunday, and this is the 3rd day after, the last sighting. So, and then this account bears some resemblance to previous accounts by Navy pilots. I believe we'll learn a lot of the vehicle. It can be recovered and examined. I thought that was an interesting quote, because are they priming to actually tell us what's in the wreckage? That would be incredible. Right now, we're just shocked that they're even talking about it. What if they're like, hey, step 2, we found really weird metals. We found really extraordinary technology.
Right.
We found a human in it. Or we found a drone. Maybe it was just a drone. Wow. We could get details about what these things were. I would be shocked. Now this is really out of the ordinary. If they start talking about the wreckage and what they found, I would be absolutely blown away. I don't expect that to happen. But they're already publicly talking about it. 2 heads of state tweeting about it. I mean, wow.
It's come a lot further than I thought it would by this point.
Man.
Or maybe it's not, and overreading into it, or
right,
overly hopeful that it comes back the way you want it to, or yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, and they go on to say, I know there have been questions and concerns about this, but there is no indication of aliens or extraterrestrial activity with these recent takedowns, White House press secretary told reporters on Monday. Okay, then it's some really advanced terrestrial craft of black op projects or black op budgets. I mean, how else could you, or they're just kind of average craft? Are they not? If they're tracking them and they're saying, okay, well, we know for sure it's not this country, this country, this country. Well, is it these giant corporations and defense contractors that are secretly building this stuff and
I would think
building up this kind of like side project that's
you think you would get caught with your technology?
DARPA kind of stuff, I guess, is what I'm looking at.
I don't think DARPA is going to have their stuff just hanging out in the sky for the government to shoot down.
That's what I mean.
None of that makes sense to me. Now,
you're right.
If it's a rogue entity that has developed this and nobody knows who it is, then yeah, I could see it being that. Let's say, what is it, Minions? The Gru, like
right.
Maybe it's somebody like that, like an evil genius, like Pinky in the Brain, whatever. And somebody has made their own spycraft or, technology.
What's our goal
that
every
they're,
night? To take over the world.
Right. Maybe that's all I could think of when you say private entity. It's either extraterrestrials or it's some kind of like breakaway.
Some movie villain.
Like, people have their own personal
like
bunkers
Dr.
and
Evil.
stuff.
It's like a Dr. Evil type character or just a huge conglomerate of all these corporations that have all these big side. It would take a lot of money.
How do you have all your stuff just hanging out there in the breeze, though, for anybody to shoot down? And if so, if it's been there, why now is it?
Why 3 in a row?
There's so many weird questions it brings up that just don't make sense at all. Like, again, like if I'm wealthy enough that it's my secret, private corporation and I'm doing this to build, governmental detection services to sell it. You're not going to get much business. Somebody already found it. Like what
Yeah, it can't be that advanced. An F-22 shot it down.
No.
What, you can't outmaneuver an F-22? That's garbage.
Even
it's like Stark Industries. You're not going to get a sale.
It feels like a UFO pinata. Mm-hmm. Like it's just too easy. It doesn't. You know what I mean?
Quote of the night, Bub.
It feels like a UFO pinata. It doesn't feel real. It just feels way too easy.
It's hollow and made of paper.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel real. Like we're
filled
used
with
to hearing stories.
Not metal, but Reese's Pieces and Tootsie Rolls.
Yeah, that'd be great if that's what's going on. Hit one over Ohio.
So we found this on Twitter. This one on Twitter. We're gonna skip that Forbes article. It's just talking about China now says that they've shot down a UFO, and that was later on Sunday. But this on Twitter, at Tiny Klaus on Twitter says,
He's great.
And this is a quote from the pilot from the Lake Huron incident. So he says, in the targeting pod, I can't tell if it's metallic or what, but I can see like lines coming down below it, but I can't see anything below it, one pilot says. You can definitely see the strings below, but don't see anything hanging below. This paints a picture of something balloon-like, or at least in sense that there is a larger structure within the strings hanging down from what you might expect to see some sort of payload attached. Wait, is this the Chinese balloon?
I don't know what this one's referencing. This is the Octagon object.
That's what
Yeah, this is what they said about the Octagon object.
So
it looked like it had strings on it too.
That's weird.
That's what I'm saying.
See, that's weird.
UFO
Come
pinata.
on. It would be.
It's basically a pinata. It's a UFO pinata.
It absolutely is. I mean, what do you hang a pinata from a tree branch? Strings. You're onto something, bub. Ridiculous comment, but it's all making sense. Where was I? This paints a picture of something balloon-like, in at least a sense there is a larger structure with strings hanging down from which you might expect. As to the color of the object, it sounds as if though it may be a metallic black, and it was clearly shiny enough to reflect the sun's rays and also add to the difficulty in working out its overall shape. Looking outside, it's like a blackish. I'm going to call it like a container. I can't really tell, though, what the shape is, one pilot says. I've got a tone, he adds, indicating the AIM-9X locked on and that he has a good track but can't see through the glare of the cockpit. So that's, the technology or whatever that they're using to track
Right.
these things.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah, and that stuff got really, really good.
good.
Fravor was talking about how what he had back then in whatever it was, 2003 or
The FLIR, forward-looking
that tracking
infrared.
system
Yeah.
is like 20 times better now.
Yeah.
And that's what these, F-22s are probably outfitted with.
They get some pretty heavy
It looks
equipment.
dark, but I can get a pretty good sunlight off of it. The other pilot remarks. So it's dark, but it's got some kind of a reflective material, which makes you think like metal, right? Some kind of a,
Yeah. Something.
it's not gunmetal.
Well,
It's got kind of a polish, maybe a smooth nature. It's reflecting.
I think they're going to have to show this stuff.
And then
We know
someone
they shot it
says,
down.
someone says, sounds like a jellyfish right below it.
Right? With England and the sky creatures.
Yeah, dude.
That's what I said too at one point. Was like, maybe
You
we're
did.
shooting down
I
sky
can't believe
jellies.
right below that the
Yeah.
wand says sounds like a jellyfish at Jeremy Corbell. Check this out. Hilarious.
Yeah.
So just in England, the sky jellyfish, bro, he might be onto something.
Yeah.
If the string's hanging down,
I don't know.
oh my God, it's a UFO pinata,
Well, and he-
potentially strange sky creature jellyfish.
Yeah, we're in an organic UFO.
Organic UFO.
Yeah.
And they shot that thing down?
Or
You think it just splattered all over the place? If it's organic.
Or these are, say some kind of like drone monitoring technology of like the Habmasives up in the mountains, or, what other civilizations have already been here. The ant people, they're watching from
Right.
afar, and they're just kind of sending these out. That's why I say we need to see it. We need to figure out what's actually going on. And that'll
I
be
vote for sky jellyfish.
that'll be the real litmus.
on at least Lake Huron.
Well, here's some of the
It's
crazier,
the more fun theory.
here's some of the crazier stuff. And
Pinata.
this comes from Tiny Klaus
good.
too. He said these headlines, man, and the headline is from The Hill, and it says White House weighs possibility of Biden addressing UFOs. White House aides are weighing whether to have President
Like he's gonna
Biden
come out
address
and
the
speak.
public about a series of unidentified
A
flying
little
objects
late at this point.
that were
Jesus.
shot down by U.S. military in recent days, according to an official familiar with the conversations. And then another quote that Klaus put up that I thought was really cool. And this comes from Biden's Homeland Security advisor to governors. Quote, while the objects may not be evidence of life on other planets, the government doesn't currently know what they are, and there are likely far more of them than was previously understood. We are dealing with a number of objects that are not well characterized, Sherwood Randall told governors on Monday. It's true that there are things that are being identified that don't resemble anything else, that largely don't present a threat, and we have to figure out what to do about them. And it turns out there are hundreds, if not thousands of them.
Right.
What? Thousands of this? So is this like for the next year? We're just gonna.
Dude, who said? What did we say at the beginning of the year? One of the first strange happenings. We said 2023 is going to be a huge year for disclosure. We've had some people in the scene talk about 2023, and how official reports, all of those things are going to become more prevalent, even more than the years before. And already, boom, we're in late January. They're not messing around. It's on. I mean, it's already been
There's a lot.
a
going
massive step up in what they're able to talk about, what they are talking about.
on. Why? Why did it take so long? What was the? Why now?
Do it on the Super Bowl weekend. There's nobody really thinking about it.
But I just say in general,
Chiefs,
why
bro.
now?
Eagles, Chiefs.
What does that matter?
Well, it's just a huge distraction.
Oh.
Maybe they're hoping not many people, over the weekend, it's going to be a distraction. Not many people will be thinking about it or talking about it, which was true because it didn't take off until really, like I said, Friday evening is when people started hitting me up.
I was
like,
hearing about it
bro,
on
you guys
Sunday."
going to cover this? What's up? Like this. And then that's when I started dropping all these links in the strange happening in the strange news.
Yeah, I kept thinking
Thread.
about strange news, and I was like, "There's no way we're doing a multivarietal approach this week. It's just
Yeah.
UAPs." You just got to read the room, right? When it's that heavy with it, like you don't not cover all of that.
So let's put Project Bluebeam. Project Bluebeam is a tough one because you have a lot of insiders and you'll hear interviews and it'll be mentioned. But I've never been able to find any white papers or documents or and if anybody in the chat has
Like
ever
a real
come across something that's like Freedom of Information Act,
Yeah.
you know, we have documents on MK Ultra. We have documents on, you know, the FBI COINTEL programs, the CIA programs where they're, you know, Operation Mockingbird. That's fully documented, where the CIA is talking to producers and editors of CNN and the Washington Post and giving them, hey, this is the script. That's why you see those video breakdowns of Sinclair Broadcast Group where they literally have the same anchor in a different city saying the exact same thing over and over and over and over again. You know, they're handing
Right.
it over to the producers.
Right.
This is the news. So you can find a lot of information on that. Project Bluebeam, I've never been able to find a document on it. It's one of those kind of ghost projects that may or may not be real. Now, what consists of it is essentially a fake alien threat, and the government coming in using the threat of an extraterrestrial threat, which Ronald Reagan really started a lot of that hyperbole in the 80s.
Oh, yeah. We had a common threat to mankind.
We could all band together as a world. This new world order.
How different the world would be.
Yeah, and so
Well, I don't know.
So,
I mean, we might be living.
they
through
want to
it.
bring us under one umbrella with the world government,
Get your digital currency.
and get your
CBDC.
passports and your digital ID, and
Okay, you got
We're
your
all-
5G, you got your CBDC, you got your, you know, just the Rolodex of things we need in the new world.
yeah.
It's gonna be, dude. It's in the next 5 years. Do you think we'll have open discussion that there are extraterrestrials?
We are right now.
No. I mean, not just that we're seeing UAPs. I mean,
Oh,
now we're
that
just
there's
addressing.
yeah. I do.
I mean,
do.
more that there's a biological.
I think it'll take
presence.
about another 5 years.
Maybe another 5,
Yeah.
10,
Yeah.
10 at the long, 5 at
I
the.
mean, weed's still not legal in Ohio. Shit moves slow, dog. Right?
Yeah, if we can't get down with the green, we're not going to do well with the green little men.
No. We one green at a time.
Wow.
One green thing at a time.
They'll show up and everybody will
Now-
just be very relaxed, like, hey.
Yeah, mushrooms get legalized. You're gonna see aliens, so it doesn't really matter. Like you can prove it or not. Heroic dose. The aliens are real.
Going full Terrence McKenna.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So that's what I figured we could kind of just cover the timeline, go through in order of kind of how this all happened.
There's been a lot happening.
We're still looking at it, and
It's
I
still
haven't seen-
occurring.
the most stuff I've seen is everybody talking about Project Bluebeam, of course, and the kind of paranormal, the podcasters.
Yeah.
But again, Project Bluebeam is really just a fake alien threat that they'll
Kind of lull
roll
everybody
out
into
with
one side.
giant illusions, lasers, essentially
Holographic projections.
holographic
Yeah,
projections,
not real.
or
But like I say, maybe all this stuff is like, maybe it's just time. Maybe all the inhabitants of the earth that we're not aware of are finally like, okay,
I
maybe
want it to
they're
be that.
maybe they're just
I
not
want
great
it
with
to be that.
technology.
But if it's that,
don't
why
know.
would they talk about it? They wouldn't be out. That's what I mean.
What you're
red
saying is it's
flags
been
are-
so long, and we've known about it for so long that now that you're talking about it, we
It's
don't believe it.
suspicious.
Right? That makes
3
sense.
times in one weekend after, I don't know, since 1776.
1949,
They've never
1947.
ever
Probably
talked
in-
about anything in the U.S. government or admitting. I mean, the UFO reports. Yeah, we're tracking them, but admitting shooting it down in real time the evening of it happening.
That's why I said I want to see some pictures.
Well, if they start coming out with, we need to really worry if they actually tell us what they've recovered, and they start talking about like technology or weird metals, then your eyebrows really gonna lift up.
I would like to see that.
Because I would too, but it's hard to trust it. Whatever comes out right now, it's tough for me to trust the narrative, because I know they'll always use these kind of instances as a way to politicize it
Yeah.
and get you to do what you're told. And hopefully this isn't that. Hopefully it's us from the future telling us not to be dumbasses and blow each other up with nuclear bombs. Like, hey, don't shoot us down. We're here.
Yeah.
You know, you hear that that's like the spiritual side of things of why the ETs are here. It's a fun thing to think about. I don't think if they are here, I don't think they're a threat. They would have blown us up and used their hypersonic weapons or whatever the hell they have.
I think that's a
they could have taken us out.
That's a foregone conclusion. If you can master interstellar travel, there's nothing potentially that
raised
we could
consciousness.
do. Right.
Yeah.
You've got to get to a certain level of a society or community or speciation where you can not kill yourself.
Right.
Right? Like that's what we struggle with. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I feel like it was like a drip, like the faucet that had not dripped for like years finally put out a drip, and now it's more and more, and especially with Corbell and Fravor and all of the work that you were saying.
Yeah,
again,
Jeremy
the last
Corbell's
5 years really laid the groundwork for now.
Yep.
That people could even comprehend. Like that's
I
when
agree.
kind of more UAP started getting coined back then in that time too. So even then they were already rephrasing it and
the Pentagon was admitting this. It was called the ATIP program.
yeah.
And then their terminology in those white papers, they called them UAPs.
But do you think that was to undo the whole, kind of like
Rebranding, dude.
Whitewashing
it's
of
a
it?
marketing. It's a marketing.
But what I'm
campaign.
saying is,
hey, we're the good. Hey, I'm a good president. I'm going to tell you all about UAPs.
I mean,
I'm cool. I'll legalize weed and give you aliens. Vote for me. It could be that too.
I'd vote for that guy.
Trudeau and Biden. Maybe they're
Let me know
just
that aliens
not
are
doing
real.
so well
Yeah.
on the old pre-campaign trail. And hey, let's give them some, psychedelic research and some pot and some alien stuff. It could be anything. It's just fishy, man.
Yeah, it doesn't go down the way you'd think it would be if it was really aliens.
Yeah.
In my mind, if it was really aliens, in all the scenarios.
Yeah. Well, they're saying it's not aliens right now.
That's what I'm saying. If it was, they would just land and be like, I just watched Mars Attacks.
You
the
wouldn't
other
be
day.
able to catch them.
No.
An F-22 wouldn't be able to shoot. Okay, you can go the speed of light and bend gravity fields, but you're going to get shot down by some like normal
Right.
jet-propelled craft that shoots
You don't think so?
propelled,
I'm with you.
the rockets are propelled by ignition,
Yeah.
and they could just go bloop and blink out. Come on.
That's why I'm with you. So we'll just have to keep our ears to the
Yeah, we're gonna
to the
we're
road.
gonna keep following this. I just hope like the next 5 strange happenings become just us covering this.
Hey, it's very possible if the tap keeps dropping as much as it has already. We're gonna need to get a bigger
Right.
class.
Right. Exactly.
We're gonna need like 2 strange happenings a week just to cover UAP happenings.
Right.
We're gonna turn into the 24-hour news network of Ron Burgundy. What else we got? Socials, media links, subscribe, like.
You guys know where to find us.
Rate,
at the Strange
review.
Road. Love the we have gotten a couple reviews actually.
Oh,
So,
cool.
yeah,
Cool.
thank you to all those folks reviewing, liking. Make sure everybody hits the like on this video.
Please and thank you.
Yeah, subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And Instagram. I know Burton, you tried to hit the link in the description. I think some of that's from an old copy and paste. My Instagram handle changed, which it's at Mikey Leisner now. It used to be at spiral_Mikey. It's kind of old, updated it. So I think that's why you're having that issue. I'll get that fixed.
Yep.
And then you can get Stoner at Kyle Stonard and Disbro. We
We gotta get Disbro
gotta get
socials.
Disbro socials
Yeah.
out there, and that's at Matt Disbro.
There you go.
Right, Disbro.
Put them on blast.
Twitter. All right,
you
great.
go.
Twitter.
Confirmation.
Bub does our Twitter.
I'm on Twitter quite a
and
lot.
at the Strange Road, but you can also hit him up at Bub Ranley.
Yeah, hit me up.
And then our Facebook group, Strange Road Hitchhikers Facebook group.
Trying to take flight.
We've got some great people in there. We've
Mm-hmm.
been sharing links. We've been sharing whenever we have something going on. Would love to get conversations moving in there, sharing stories. Anything you guys want to share, feel free. And then, of course, we're on Spotify, Apple, Google, and everywhere else. You can find those links in the description. And yeah, that's really it.
Yeah.
I want to thank Stone and
Disbra.
Disbra.
Yeah.
And thank you, Bub.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fun
And-
time.
This has been a good one.
Yeah.
And we're going to be, covering this potentially, keeping our ear to the ground with everything that's happening with this UAP
Yeah.
jazz.
I don't think it's done.
let's just hope we don't have any more UFO pinatas, and it's something of substance that comes out of this.
Yeah, or train derailments.
Oh,
We couldn't cover it, but if you're not aware of the East Palestine, Ohio,
Yes.
Pennsylvania border, the train that went down with the vinyl
let's make
chloride.
people aware of that if they're not.
If you're not familiar with it, yeah, there was a train derailment of a chemical vinyl chloride, and I think the solution was to set it on fire, which I don't understand
Not a
how that's a
great
containment
Thought
method.
process there.
Put out a really big plume. It's kind of being
We're
compared
probably
to
breathing it in now.
Chernobyl infected, the water table of the Ohio River that supplies quite a number of
Goes
other
into, I don't know, every other major river system.
Yeah. So crops and water and animals and livestock and just, people in general. So if you live in that area, sorry to hear about it.
Very sorry to hear about
If
that.
you don't know about it, check it out because there's not been a lot of coverage.
And there's been a lot of shady stuff with corporations and government. Imagine that. Where
and
there's a whole lot of blame and not
Right.
a lot of, hey, it's on us. People are suffering. It's horseshit.
It's a real life Aaron Brockovich story happening.
It really is.
And then you got the other
Flint
one
water,
in
I
New
mean,
Mexico or New Mexico, Arizona. There was a tanker or a truck that went over another train derailed that had another chemical recently.
Horrible.
So
horrible
there's a lot of
for
weird
people,
stuff going
for
on.
Animals. The animals are getting toasted right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
The water systems. I mean, we're just going to pollute everything.
It's sad.
But we want to,
take care of
end this
yourselves.
on a positive note. We really do feel for those folks in Palestine, Ohio. Take care and
See what you can do to help out if you see anything come across your board, or send stuff our way too if there's anything we can do to help out with that. That'd
yes,
be cool.
absolutely, 100%.
Definitely
Raise
push
awareness.
any charities or anything that's helping the folks in that area.
Yep, absolutely. Guys, this has been another episode of Strange Happenings. We
Appreciate
are
it.
out. We appreciate all of the hell out of all of you, and you
Absolutely.
guys have a great night.
Yep.
Peace.
Till next time.